There comes a time, quiet and disorienting, when the fire that once propelled your every step suddenly vanishes. It doesn't go out with ceremony or closure. Instead, it slips through your fingers while you're too tired to chase it. And as you sit in the stillness it leaves behind, a strange numbness begins to settle in, not painful, but echoing. The ambition that once defined you has turned to ash. The urgency that kept your calendar full no longer compels you. And you are left, not with purpose, but with a question. Where did it all go? And why don't I miss it more? In a world that glorifies motion for its own sake, we are not taught how to interpret stillness. We are told that to slow down is to fall behind, that to rest is to regress, that to question your drive is to lose your identity. But what if the part of you that is no longer striving has not died, but awakened? What if the fire didn't abandon you, but instead revealed itself as something that was never really yours to begin with? Much of what we call motivation is not an authentic inner calling, but rather a well-rehearsed adaptation to someone else's expectations. From a young age, many of us learned how to trade approval for compliance. We discovered that being praised for excellence was easier than being loved for our truth. We were applauded for following rules we never questioned, goals we never chose, and standards we never examined. Over time, those early moments of validation became the scaffolding upon which we built a self eager to achieve, to impress, to outperform, to belong. But belonging based on performance is not belonging at all. It is a contract written in silence, one that says, I will be who you need me to be if you promise to keep loving me. And so we become successful in the eyes of others, while slowly growing estranged from our own soul. Don Miguel Ruiz, in his book The Four Agreements, invites us to consider that we inherit not just ideas, but agreements, unspoken deals with our families, our culture, our religions. We agree, often unconsciously, to chase perfection. We agree to measure worth in metrics and milestones. And the most dangerous of these agreements is that our motivation must be constant in order for us to be seen as valuable. The unraveling of these inherited agreements can feel like failure, but it is, in truth, the beginning of freedom. When the engine that once drove you begins to fail, you don't just feel exhausted, you feel exposed. You begin to realize that so much of your energy was never truly yours. It was borrowed from anxiety. It was harvested from fear. It was crafted to survive environments that never once asked what your soul needed to thrive. And when those environments no longer hold power over you, when the job ends, the relationship fades, the role dissolves, you may find yourself staring into an open space where identity used to live. And in that space, motivation dies, not because something is wrong with you, but because your nervous system no longer believes it must be in fight or flight to earn its place in the world. This is where the ego panics. It whispers that you're losing your edge, that you're falling behind, that rest is irresponsible and emptiness is weakness. But those whispers are not sacred. They are echoes of an old world collapsing. And your emptiness is not a void to be feared. It is a womb, and something holy is forming in its silence. Eventually, something begins to stir, not out of desperation, but from within. It may not arrive as clarity, but as a nudge, a curiosity, a softness, and it will not demand your obedience. It will simply ask, what if you moved not to impress, but to express? What if you created not to win, but to witness what beauty lives inside you now? This is not motivation as we once knew it, not the relentless churn of deadlines and checklists, but the quiet pulse of something ancient and alive. Joy. The kind of joy that is not reactive, not performative, not fragile. A joy that doesn't need to be posted or praised or proven. A joy that is enough. And when you find that joy, not a blaze, but a hum, you will know you have come home to yourself. Not the self you built to survive, but the self who has nothing left to earn. The self who rests, who waits, who rises only when the moment says, yes, now. The fire you lost was never yours. It was stitched from fear, performance, and the borrowed voices of people who didn't know how to love you without conditions. Now, you are free to build a new flame, one made of truth, desire, and your own sacred timing. Do not fear the stillness. Do not rush to replace it. Do not chase motivation. Let it come to you this time, and when it does, let it be yours.